You want to get Joe? You want to get Joe from school?
One Square Mile, Texas is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, flying the Texas skies since 1971, and community partners in square miles from coast to coast. Southwest Airlines is proud to support One Square Mile, Texas. More information at southwest.com. Texas Photo Montage, featuring the cultural images of Texas, available online at texasmontage.com.
Texas is an interesting place, and I think I identify most with Dallas.
I don't think I found my tribe until I got here.
We're 7 miles from the border, so you get a little bit of everything.
You'd be surprised what goes on in a little town.
When you're in NAC, they all make sure that you're okay and safe.
If you go to a restaurant, plan on a 2-hour wait.
I'm living in a city where things are vibrant.
When I'm here, I just feel like I'm in the right spot.
We're in a cultural explosion influenced by this community.
It's interesting because Houston has the demographics of what the United States will have in about 30 years. I spend all of my time reading and just trying to figure out where the world is right now so I can sort of extrapolate into the future where I won't be here. This has been one of the happiest times of my life, honestly. I know that sounds strange for being in hospice, but it really has. I've made more friends here than I've made in the last 30 years. I live in this other world, and then there's this world outside of here that there's traffic and there's work, all the little things that you do day after day after day after day after day. And I don't have to do those things anymore. So I have like backflashes of when I lived in the Matrix. That's what I call the outside world. I'm HIV positive, but I've never had any HIV-related illness. My condition is COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And it's a very unpleasant feeling because you feel like you're drowning. It's progressive and it gets worse. What are they doing today? Monica's coming after 11. It's from 40 years of coffee and cigarettes for breakfast. But, I mean, I'm guaranteed to buy my way in. Time is moving very quickly. I don't know if that happens as you get to be my age or not. I'm only 54, but I don't think I would miss being 70 or 80. Maybe I'm sorry, I'll miss my 60s, but that's about it. I have 3 children. I have a daughter, Megan. You know, I feel bad because everything fell in her court. She always gauges how happy I am or not. And if she sees me happy, she's happy. I've seen a lot of people die here. I've gotten close to many of them. It doesn't scare me because I don't feel like I'm gonna suffer. I've pretty much been an atheist most of my life. I don't know what it feels like to connect to a God. I don't consider my dying to be such a big drama. It's just going to be where my body stops working and, you know, this carbon unit will be done. To me, the miracle is life. And to have been able to experience it and to continue to experience it every day, that alone is the miracle.
Houston, as huge as it is, you feel like you're living in a little town. What this block gives Cody is a freedom. He sits down here in his purple chair. He walks up and down this block. He feels safe. He thinks he's taking care of everybody here, but the neighbors, they all have an eye on Cody. When Cody was 3, they said he wouldn't live to be past probably 8 years old. So I prepared myself.
When you were burning yourself, awful.
By the time he was 12 and the doctors were saying, I think he's gonna live longer than we thought. And it was a strange feeling because I had so prepared myself. It actually made me cry. Not because Cody was gonna live longer, but the thought that he might outlive me. They can't give us a prognosis. My doctors that know me really well, they know that I'm about the quality of Cody's life and not the length of his life. Cody moves and he's got the bones of a 70-year-old. He has trouble walking. Cody's in pain with every step he takes. You know, my mother in me says he's in the winter of his life. I just love watching him. Everything he does is with intention and purpose. The fact that he can do it, I'm just tickled to death.
Don't forget to put your jacket on.
One time he had a really hard time and he started to belly cry and those hands came up and he looked up and he says, my life hard. And in that moment, I really became aware that he knows he's handicapped. He's high enough level to know, but you know, he's still 6 years old in the mind. Who am I really if I'm not Cody's mother? I go to bed at night and I'm tired. I'm exhausted. What it feels like is kind of like you're in something that has pressure and you really are never without that pressure. But I'm kind of looking forward to the next day. Cody and I, we have to finish this together. And when you turn that corner down there and you see him sitting by that big purple sculpture in his purple chair, you just know you're home.
I'm an electrical engineer, so maybe that explains who I am. I think once you have one kid, you might as well have 12 kids because your life's changed anyway. Being a parent, the highs are very high and the lows are very low. And it's a lot of work, but it's also so much fun.
No. Okay, now Brooke's doing a good
When
job.
my third child was born, and I was off from my corporate job and I was home alone with the 3 kids, I had to struggle a lot to even, get out the door and live life like a normal person, now that I had 3 young kids under the age of 5. We were trying to keep our old lives that we had before we were parents, and I was just trying to have everything in order. I realized that's just unrealistic. I'm a new person now as a mom, and I needed to live a new life, and it could be better than it ever was before. I am a blogger. I have bigkidsmallcity.com. For my own sake, I wanted to create this blog and force myself to get out of the house and really rejoin the human race and really enjoy all that Houston has to offer. And then once we got really good at it and we're having a lot of fun, it became our mission to encourage other parents to do the same. Joe made up flyers on his own. We helped him go around to a few of our neighbors' houses and said that, if they would hire him for 1 quarter per trash can, he would pull out their trash cans and pull them back in the next day. So every Sunday night you can see all of us going down the street in a little parade, pulling out trash cans. Raising a family in Montrose is our dream. We wanted a place in Houston where we could walk to the store, the post office, the library, to parks. And so we took out a map and we put circles around those areas. And this block that we live on is where we decided we need to live. So when we saw a house go for sale, this is where we bought it.
I'm Cheryl Kolosinski. I'm the Deputy Director and Chief Operating Officer of the Manil Collection. There are very few workplaces I've ever come to where I feel like my blood pressure goes down the minute I get there. I was with the Smithsonian for 17 years. This really is kind of the opposite scale. This is at the scale of the individual. The collective is a very small collective here. It's a neighborhood. I had only been in Houston for the first time a couple of years ago. And in fact, this is the place I came and was amazed, honestly. It stayed in my mind. And so when the opportunity came to come here, it was a very desirable opportunity. So it's really nice to be able to start a new chapter completely from scratch. New place, new people, new institution, new work, new life. It's really nice at any stage, I think, to be able to know that you have the capacity to have a completely new gig. As much as this is a quiet, calm place and an oasis and a getaway from it all, it's a workplace. And so it's got a certain amount of beehive of activity going on at every moment. We've just opened a new show and we're just about to open another one. So there's installations going on, there's conservation work going on inside our laboratory and outside. So there's something going on at every moment in terms of the specific specialties within the museum. I never think of the museum as a building by itself. I think of it as a building in the neighborhood. And it's the whole neighborhood that you experience when you're here. It's a happening neighborhood. It's a very busy and transforming neighborhood, in fact. It's hard to characterize it in one way except lively and open and accessible, and we are sort of in the heart of it. I think that there will always be a place for the kind of respite from the city that this place represents, this oasis. I think people will always be seeking that. There should be no barrier to having art as a part of everyday life.
I walked into this house 5 years ago, and immediately I fell in love. And I said to myself, oh my gosh, I love it, I want it. The previous owner was an amazing man, and the day I met him, the stars aligned and my life changed forever.
And we have a lot of regulars, a lot of people that will be here that are.
I've been in the restaurant business for over a decade. I immediately knew it was different. When people come here, it's like a big deal that they got a reservation because they feel it's like a little exclusive club. It's a very intimate experience, and I think customers really appreciate that, and that's why they keep coming back. When I took over, I brought in a chef, Daniel Toro, and he does like exquisitely prepared food with very simple ingredients. You know, we picked them in the garden today. We are fortunate, so we really put a lot of love and effort into what's out there, and it ends up on your plate. It's very small, but I don't know, I think it's also one of the things that brings us closer. It's kind of almost like a dance in the back. I think I am on the right path, for sure. Everything I've done in the past has put me in this position. I've worked to be here. I cannot relax and be like, oh, it's just gonna work out. No. I know, like, if you get too comfortable, that's where failure starts. We are very important to this community. People walk here, and that's really great, you know, that this neighborhood offers that to people. Houston is this rich pot of people from all over the world, and I am one of those.
So, like Richard was telling you,
I was born in El Salvador, and I came over when I was about 5 years old. So I'm like an adopted Houstonian. Being in Houston, the culinary scene, it's expanding, and so I'm in it. You know, I'm part of that movement.
About 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. Something like that really does tend to get you focused on what you've done so far and what you still have left to do. I don't know that it changed me so much that it focused me, because there's a point at which you may get a little bit overly comfortable taking the path of less resistance. my identity really radiates outwards from this neighborhood. I first moved into Montrose in the early 1970s. It was the hippie Montrose era. It was a fun time to be here. For most of my work career for like the last 20-something years, I've only worked within 10 minutes of where I live. And I know that I'm back in my neighborhood once I've crossed Shepherd. Even greater once I've come south of West Heinrich. I actually work in the corporate world. I don't know that I would have specifically chosen that, but that allows me to pay for what I love to do after work, which is I'm a musician. There are people who have known me in the business world who did not really know that I was a musician or did anything else on the side, and a lot of people who know me only as a musician and then are shocked to know that I have a day job. It's a pretty schizophrenic type of thing. It's very right brain, left brain. For me, it's much more rewarding to do that sort of thing purely for the joy of it. You know, maybe at the end of a long day, sitting down playing music for half an hour is one of the best things you can do. I don't know that I think about anything when I'm playing, other than the fact that you want to kind of be an open vessel and let the music come through you. I want to make sure I'm not just taking up space. I want to be doing something. I want to be doing something purposeful.
That's okay.
You know, it's all about just having the, you know, making time to do the things that you want to do.
How are you today? Good to see you. Hi, Angelica. Good morning.
I am Nahla Nasir. I teach at St. Stephen's Episcopal School. I also serve as the lower and middle school principal. When I think of St. Stephen's, one word comes to mind is diversity. It's a school that respects everybody, regardless of religious beliefs or sexual orientation, gender, ethnicity. I mean, I'm a perfect example. I come from a different culture, from a different religion belief, and I've been with the school for so long. I have come to the United States in 1980 with my husband and my one-year-old son, escaping the civil war in Lebanon. And the next year, I was looking for a job.
Yeah. You know, sometimes we cry when I feel
In the beginning, I felt like I was guided through something by coming over here and beginning this journey. As I was going through my life, I was being present and just enjoying what I was doing. And I really felt passionate about everything I've done. And that's how I began my journey with St. Stephen's.
How are you today? I'm really good to see you. Good.
Coming from Lebanon, it was a huge change for me, especially culturally, because in Lebanon, where we live, you know, we're very close to our family, and here I come to a country, I don't know anybody except my husband and my son. So it was, I was very sad. Actually, it took me a while to adjust here to the culture. I began with St. Stephen's so long, St. Stephen's became like my second family here too. I'm already seeing the students I've taught years ago, and now they're in college. So hopefully I can see their also children coming back and being students here. Then it'll be really gratifying to see the fruit of all the seeds that we've planted before. All of a sudden, I'm here now. Oh, okay, so this is the accomplishment of really being present at every stage. And you don't know where it's going to lead you, but it eventually leads you to a place where you want to be.
Houston is very individual compared to the rest of Texas. Everyone always compares it to Austin, but I feel like Houston is almost more sophisticated in their arts culture and their music culture, and Austin is kind of just like the hippie little brother or sister. Even in Montrose, I just think we're so much more liberal and not the stereotypical Texan. It's a very liberal institution, a very liberal school, very embracing to who you are, and it's a religious school, but I mean, it's not very conservative. I mean, we just had our first gay marriage service like 2 months ago. I know all the teachers here, and I mean, you really feel close to them, and it's kind of depressing leaving it.
Okay.
I have to start college now, and I have to figure out what I'm going to do with my life, and it's stressful. I don't think I have as much as a plan as some of my friends, but I definitely kind of have that general opinion as I need to do good in school. I need to somewhat think about what I want to do so it doesn't just come at me and hit me. I feel like it's a lot more stressful than it was for my parents. Like, my mom's an artist, so she really opened me up to art. So I feel that this was kind of a very embracing environment to that. And my dad's a scientist, and I kind of have those two fields, and they don't expect me to go into either field. I mean, they're very open to anything I want to do. I want to do something in math. I'm also very interested in design, so I was thinking industrial design, but I don't really want to make chairs. I don't know what I want to do yet. I think I'll figure it out. I'll be very organized about it, and it'll be great. But I mean, right now, with everything kind of unfinished, it's very scary. I feel overwhelmed.
The Rothko Chapel is a very unique place. We have people who literally fly to Houston, get off the plane, take a taxi, and come here specifically because they want to experience the space. And then we have people who come every week as their sort of weekly opportunity to connect with themselves. I take very seriously my responsibility to be a good steward of this place, and also to work to figure out how to make sure this place is relevant today. I'm an ordained Presbyterian minister, so I have that experience in my background. I've served congregations around Texas and Massachusetts and Kansas, but I'm very happy to have ended up here where I really feel like I get to integrate all these different experiences and dimensions of my personality and of my passion. In my capacity here, I'm not functioning as a Christian minister. This place is not with any particular tradition. This building is common ground for people of all the different world religious traditions. I think right now we can be so cynical about religion. Religion at its best is spiritual. And if you're someone who identifies as spiritual but not religious, but doesn't necessarily fit in a particular category or religious box, this place can draw you. It sort of embraces and holds you as you're on that quest. I feel in our life today we can become so harried and so busy and value ourselves primarily in terms of our productivity. And this place takes a stand for something so that life doesn't need to be measured by how frenetic you are. And your list of accomplishments is not the sum total of your value to the human family. I think maybe now more than ever the chapel's over 40 years old, and part of me feels like it's just now arrived. This neighborhood has changed a lot in the 40 years, and there's no question that the chapel has been really determinative in the course of this neighborhood.
To find out more about this 1 square mile and others, visit our website at osmtx.com. 1 Square Mile, Texas is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, flying the Texas skies since 1971, and community partners in square miles from coast to coast. Southwest Airlines is proud to support 1 Square Mile, Texas. More information at southwest.com. Texas Photo Montage featuring the cultural images of Texas, available online at texasmontage.com.